In 2190, 4 American astronauts prepare for a 10-year mission to Pangaea, a distant space colony. Their journey begins with a heartfelt farewell to their families. The astronauts travel aboard a station ship that serves as a fueling dock between Earth and Europa 1, humanity's first space colony. Over the years, the crew grows close, especially Captain John Lane and engineer Jackie Miller, who develop a relationship. However, after 5 years of isolation, the crew begins to suffer from mental health issues. John experiences violent night terrors and, during one of these episodes, aggressively grabs Jackie in his sleep. Concerned, he visits the crew's medical specialist, Richard Vallon, who diagnoses John with violent night terrors. Despite the diagnosis, John dismisses it, believing it to be nothing more than a bad dream. As the months pass, the rest of the crew also struggles mentally. Richard, worried about their deteriorating state, tries to have them removed from the mission for their own safety, though John protests. Jackie, who has been trying to contact her daughter Jenny, discovers that the communication system cannot locate her. During a routine update, the youngest crew member, Lisa Brown, reports that Earth has not responded to any of their messages. John brushes it off, assuming it's just a glitch, and hands over Richard's psychiatric report on the crew to calm everyone down. Jackie, however, becomes upset when she realizes that Richard's analysis could end their careers. Later, she accuses John of wasting her sacrifices, especially the time away from her daughter. Lisa also questions John's leadership, asking if he could have done something to prevent their current situation. The tension reaches its peak when a series of massive explosions rock the station. The crew rushes to their stations, trying to assess the damage. Richard, after witnessing a bright flashing light in space, disappears. John orders Lisa to check on him, but when the doors to the bay open, John is suddenly engulfed by a blinding white light. Hours later, John regains consciousness and finds Jackie sitting dazed in the lounge. He asks her what happened, but she seems unable to provide a clear answer. Lisa is found unconscious at the medical station with a head wound, and Richard is in shock, unable to help. John is frustrated and orders Richard back to his duties. John then shares with Jackie the details of the strange light he saw, though Jackie is skeptical, dismissing it as insignificant. As they continue to investigate, the station's system reports that Earth's location can no longer be found, and instead, it detects an asteroid field where Earth should be. Shocked, John realizes that Earth has been destroyed. As he and Jackie discuss the implications, Richard finally speaks, explaining that the lack of a distress call means Earth's destruction was sudden and unexpected. Jackie informs John that one of the station's batteries has been damaged, which severely limits their ability to function. Despite this, John decides to prioritize contacting Earth, though Richard laughs at the notion, certain that Earth is gone. Jackie, growing increasingly distraught, hides the trembling of her hand. With their situation growing more desperate, Lisa finally regains consciousness, but not before a critical situation arises. As Richard attempts to operate on Lisa to relieve pressure on her brain, she suddenly begins hemorrhaging. She panics, and John and Jackie rush to help. Richard quickly administers an emergency drug, but it's too late. Lisa goes into shock and dies. The crew is left devastated by the loss. Later, Jackie reports that their life support and power reserves are running dangerously low. She suggests abandoning Station 2 and moving to Station 1 to conserve resources. But Richard is frustrated by their refusal to accept the reality that Earth is gone. Jackie proposes using an escape pod to return to Earth, but John refuses, prioritizing their survival and insisting that Earth may not have survivors. Richard argues that they don't have enough resources to make the journey. Reluctantly, John agrees with Richard. After Jackie walks away, John asks Richard if the escape pod could reach Europa. Richard is doubtful but agrees to try. That night, an alarm awakens John, and he discovers Jackie preparing to launch the escape pod alone. In a tragic twist, the pod's ejection system malfunctions, creating a vacuum that threatens to suck them both into space. John desperately throws Jackie a rope, pulling her back to the station just in time before the pressure causes the station to collapse. Jackie watches helplessly as the escape pod floats away into the void. After treating Jackie's injuries, Richard asks John what his plan is now that he's the only one left. 3 months pass, and they still haven't received a signal from Earth. Their vitality is now at a dangerously low 55%. John finds Richard talking to himself in his room, clearly slipping further into despair. When John asks about Jackie, Richard makes an odd remark about their estranged relationship. Concerned, John eventually finds Jackie sedated and watching a video of her daughter Jenny. She's filled with guilt for leaving her behind. John comforts her and together they plan their next move. Jackie proposes blowing up Station 2 to conserve resources. Though the plan comes with the risk of death, John apologizes for his failures as a captain and assures Jackie that they'll get through it. When Jackie presents the idea to Richard, he quickly dismisses it, questioning the point of survival at all. To him, they are the last of their kind, and the situation will only get worse. John later confronts Richard about his nihilistic attitude. Richard reveals that his wife has been asking him to come home, adding to the growing concern about his mental state. One night, John is startled by an alarm and discovers that Richard has escaped the station while they were sleeping. Jackie attempts to pull him back to the station using a mechanical arm, but Richard, now fully aware of his isolation, reaches out for help. As the mechanical arm breaks under the pressure, Richard is sent drifting into the void, lost forever in space. With their resources now at 49%, Jackie offers John 2 suicide pills. She tells him she doesn't want to end up like Richard, and that it may be time to let go of their struggle. The crew's survival seems impossible, and the weight of their circumstances pushes them to the edge. Just as Jackie hands John the suicide pills, she spots a shuttle outside the window, reigniting her hope. Though John is confused, Jackie convinces him to take the risk. They board the shuttle and are transported to Pangaea for medical evaluation. Diane Uries, the shuttle captain, is the first to recover, and explains that her crew was on the International Space Station when an explosion severely damaged it. They were forced to head to Pangaea, surviving the 3-month trip due to the deaths of their American crew, which extended their resources. Diane plans to repair the shuttle and head to Europa. John asks if she knows what caused the explosion, but she doesn't have an answer. At dinner, Diane introduces her crew, Dr. Thomas DeHaan and Vincent Bernard. Diane gives them a tour of the station, and John shares their plan to separate from Station 2 in a few days. Thomas asks how long they can survive with limited food and oxygen, but John and Jackie are unsure. Diane encourages them to be honest about their situation. Jackie reassures them that with rationing, they will survive long enough to reach Europa. Relieved, Diane suggests a celebration. Later, John and Jackie rekindle their relationship at a carefree party. However, as it winds down, John asks Diane if anyone survived the explosion. Diane is certain that no one did, leading John to suspect that she knows more about the event than she's letting on. Back in her quarters, Jackie throws away the syringes from her table and gazes at a picture of her daughter. She calculates that their life support will only last for a month, and is stunned by how wrong she had been about their chances. That night, Jackie forms a plan. As John, deeply concerned over his conversation with Diane, remains lost in thought, Jackie sneaks into the shuttle's control room to inspect it. The next day, John learns about their limited resources and demands an explanation. Jackie admits that they'll die within a month even if they ration, realizing that it's impossible to reach Europa. John realizes Jackie might try to use the shuttle to return to Earth. He rejects the idea, but Jackie insists her daughter might still be alive. Furious, John forces Diane to tell Jackie the truth. Diane recalls that during her training, she witnessed Earth erupting and exploding into pieces. The last message they received from Earth was, "Don't return, go to Europa." Jackie is devastated, realizing she'll never see her daughter again. John comforts her, and they sit in silence. Later, Diane's crew secretly reviews Pangaea's life support data, shocked to learn that they've been lied to. At dinner, Vincent makes an inappropriate remark about the dead being lucky, sparking a tense argument with John and Jackie. Diane reprimands him, but once they leave, she asks to speak with John alone. In the hallway, Jackie overhears Vincent conspiring with Thomas. Diane reveals that she knew they were hiding something. John admits that their calculations were inaccurate, but insists they didn't lie. Diane asks if there's any hope left, but John cannot give her an answer. She expresses disappointment that they were so close to Europa, only to be let down. At their quarters, John reassures Jackie that Diane understands their situation, though Jackie is still wary of Vincent. Meanwhile, Thomas tries to calm Vincent. Diane arrives just as Vincent pulls out a knife, intending to kill John and Jackie. Thomas pleads with him not to go through with it, and Diane begins to suspect that Vincent may have killed their American crew members to save himself. Vincent admits it, and despite her anger, Diane embraces him to calm him down. But Vincent betrays her, choking her to death. Vincent and Thomas later corner John and Jackie in the lounge. Vincent demands to know how long 2 people can survive on the ship, but Jackie refuses to answer. John asks where Diane is, but Vincent stays silent. Jackie calls for Diane over the intercom, but there is no response. John and Jackie discover Diane's lifeless body in her quarters. John orders Vincent and Thomas to leave, but Vincent refuses. Believing that killing them will provide enough time to repair their shuttle, Vincent pulls out a knife. In the ensuing struggle, John is stabbed in the stomach. As Vincent escapes, John directs Jackie to begin the station's separation process. Jackie works to reboot the system and open the gas tank, while John chases after Thomas, who is pursuing her. Just then, Vincent reappears, ready to fight. John charges at him, but Vincent overpowers him with a blow to the head. Meanwhile, Jackie is attacked by Thomas, who hesitates to kill her, giving Jackie the chance to grab a pipe and knock him unconscious. Jackie searches for John but is blocked by a locked door. The system announces that the reboot has been interrupted. Jackie urges John to stop Vincent, as he doesn't understand what he's doing. When John arrives at the control room, Vincent is about to access the heating system. John warns him that everyone will die if he proceeds, but Vincent doesn't believe him. John contacts Jackie, telling her that Vincent plans to ignite the pilot, but she warns Vincent that the vents weren't sealed, meaning the fire would spread and destroy the station. Vincent, desperate, calls out for Thomas. Jackie lies that Thomas is safe, as long as Vincent stops what he's doing. Vincent mumbles that he's only trying to save his crew and walks away from the computer. John takes over, opening the door that's been blocking Jackie. With Vincent gone, Jackie heads to the control room while John works to close the vents and shut down the temperature control. Suddenly, Vincent tackles John to the ground. As they fight, John alerts Jackie that Vincent is trying to blow up the station. Jackie rushes to seal the bridge. John warns her that she'll be trapped on Station 2 if the bridge blows, but Vincent knocks him down with a powerful kick. As Jackie attempts to reach Station 2, Vincent activates the heating system. Jackie is locked out of the pilot room and doesn't make it in time to stop him. Vincent and John brace for impact, but to their surprise, the pilot doesn't ignite. Jackie assumes they're safe and orders John to shut down the heating system and throw Vincent off the ship. However, she soon sees the bridge catch fire. John asks if she can reach him, but she's trapped. He tells her to get to Station 2 and runs off, leaving Vincent to realize the disaster he's caused. The bridge finally explodes, separating the two stations. John, struggling through the wreckage, calls Jackie through the intercom, but Vincent appears behind him, covered in blood. John quickly closes the door between them and activates the decompression system. Vincent leaves a bloody handprint on the door before being ejected into space. Alone, John reflects on Richard's question, what he would do when he was the last one left. Then he hears Jackie's voice over the intercom. She locked herself in the pantry. John tells her he's too far to reach Station 2, but she suggests using the shuttle. As John begins starting the shuttle, the ignition board sparks. Jackie pleads for him to fix it, but as he works, contact with her is lost. John reprograms the system to scan for Station 2 and sends another distress message, but there's still no response. Despite the silence, John promises he's coming for her. Years later, Station 1 lies in ruins. John, worn out by isolation, speaks to a photo of Jackie and their crew. With limited oxygen and supplement injections, he survives. Finally, he fixes the ignition board and locates Station 2. As he prepares for the long journey, John logs June 9, 2198, marking his 3022nd day as the captain of Pangaea. Dragging supplies to the control room, John faces a malfunctioning door. As it opens, an apparition of a wounded Jackie appears, urging him to stay. He ignores it, pushing forward. He sees apparitions of Lisa, Richard, and Jackie one last time before starting the shuttle and setting course for Station 2. When he arrives, John finds Jackie slumped in the pantry. She awakens as he enters. And you, my friend, can enter a new movie recap by clicking on the videos on the right. Subscribe and drop a like if you enjoyed this story. Grab your popcorn, enjoy yourself, and see you soon.